Afri-Ball is the Met Gala of Africa. I've always also imagined the African community, particularly the creatives, to present themselves in the highest pedestal. I mean, I've seen a lot of people doing amazing work, and largely people are not taking the necessary risk, and I can't blame them really because not everybody is as fortified. But I just wanted to create a platform where we could shine, and shine the right way.
Teinye,
Yes.
thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Dubs.
So you're an author,
Mm.
you're a life coach, and you're now the founder of Creators Mix and the Afri-Ball.
Yep.
So obviously for people who may be wondering about you and some of the incredible work that you're doing in Newcastle at the minute, how would you describe yourself?
The thing though is so before now, the answer to that question usually bothers around where I am at per time. But now that you've obviously talked about Newcastle, talked about that, I think I'll tailor my presentation around what is necessary to what I'm doing now.
Okay.
But overall, I like to call myself a cultural storyteller because as a multipod, the bulk of the things that I do moves around storytelling and then the cultural part of it. So everything from music, from as a singer, from events production as a producer, as a creative director for events, and the many other things that I do as a multipod, everything centers around experiences, and experiences are stories, right? So my essence is to deliver stories as a cultural person, right? So I'll call myself a cultural storyteller because that's like the intersection of all of my abilities. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah, that's it. And I mean, so if I want to go deep into the other parts of me, and then I could say I'm a singer, but most people might not know that because the kind of singing I do is not the kind you see on social media. I'm a classical musician, and so I perform at concerts, I perform at events, I do solos and stuff, and then I'm a culture writer as well, and that's why culture is always at the center of everything I do, because the things I write, I'm more interested about pop culture, and I write about that, and then so everything I do has to go. I have my 3 C's, and I call them, it's culture, creativity, and community. So everything I do has to have that element of culture, has to have that heavy element of creativity, and has to directly impact the community.
Yeah. Love that. You've used that word multipod a few times since the opening of this podcast. For those who may not be familiar with that word, what does it mean to you?
Right. So a multipod is a multi-potentialite, somebody who thrives in 3 or more abilities, someone who is able to do many things well. Now, that's different from multitasking. A multipod is somebody who innately can do so many things and do them well. So a multipod will naturally be somebody who sings and sings very well, and you think that that's the only thing the person can do because he does it so well, but he can also act or dance or write or produce or whatever it is, cook even, so that's who a multipod is. So now the term multipod is actually a shorter form of multi-potentialite. I would say I kind of popularized that word. Yeah, it's been there, but I chose to go with the shorter form rather than just saying multi-potentialite because I thought it was a handful. Yeah, so that's who it. So anybody who is struggling, literally, who doesn't know what they want to become, or who's having to deal with multiple callings, you're probably a multipod. You're not confused. Yeah, so that's what it is.
Do you feel like most creatives today are multipods because they have to wear so many hats as well?
Largely.
Yeah.
Largely. I think creativity and multipotentiality work hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because even being an artist, say a fine artist, you sketch, there are different elements of multipotentiality within that because you have to think. So critical thinking is there. You have to be able to mentally design. And then you have to also be thorough enough to design to precision. So there's a bit of all of that. Now, these are 3 different parts that one person can be a critical thinker and be paid for that. And then you can just be a designer. You creatively design things in your head and you can be that. But this is you as an artist, a fine artist or a sculptor. You have there's a bit of math in it because you have to calculate the angles. There's a bit of design as well because you have to know what it looks like and what you want it to look like. You know, and then you have to be skilled and disciplined. So there's a whole lot. So largely, I feel a lot of creators are multipods.
Incredible. So you've written a book called The Black Multipod, right? And so that's led you to doing some research on this topic.
Yeah.
Do you think that being a multipod is synonymous with an element of neurodiversity for most creatives?
Oh, definitely yes. Definitely yes. I mean, I didn't find out that I'm on the spectrum of ADHD until my research, my 7 years long research of the lifestyle of being a multipod. Yeah. So there is always that bit because I find that for me now, it's hyper focus. I rarely can do two things at the same time mentally. So if I'm writing right now, it's very easy for me to get off that concentration if you literally just walk in. So I like to be in my space. I like to, and then when I studied further, I realized that that's what hyper focus is. You're just, I can literally be writing, bro, for 6 hours straight and I'll be in a space. And and then, but now that's not new. That's not neurotypical, is it? Yeah, it's neurodiverse because you have people who would find that as a problem. Like, okay, you know, but so neurodiversity has a big part to play in multipotentiality because that is how your brain is able to function the way it functions by, you know, tolerating different activities at the same time. Yeah.
Incredible. So coming back to the Afri-Ball, I wanted to find out what your rationale is for creating such a product as this. It's quite possibly the first of its kind in our region, the first essentially with this magnitude as well, where you've pretty much gone all out to make sure that it looks great, everything that you've done with regards to the preparation. But I wanted to find out what made you decide that you wanted to create something like this in Newcastle.
So when I moved here, this is the background story really. I'm somebody who likes to look for opportunities.
Right.
And I'm somebody who likes to travel the road less traveled.
Yeah.
I don't like to do what everyone is doing. As a matter of fact, if everyone is doing it and I want to do it, I would always find a way to do it differently. So moving to Newcastle, a very culturally rich region, council, I would say that I looked for the opportunity within the Black space, within the African space, where I could find my people.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, sorry.
Yeah.
When did you move here?
2022.
Did you move here from Nigeria directly?
Yes, I did.
Did you go anywhere else in the UK before you came? So you came from Nigeria to Newcastle?
Yep.
So from Lagos to Newcastle?
Yes, essentially, yes.
Wow. And so you were looking for your people, you said?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been, again, community. I've always been somebody who likes to exist in the community. So I looked around for the creative community of Newcastle. I've been to different events where I'm most likely the only Black person. If there's any other Black person, it's my wife. You know, so I've been in those spaces. And so it became pertinent that I build a community that really, really talks about or makes us seen, you know. And I said, okay, rather than just wait for that to exist, I'm going to create it. And I've always had this mantra of not begging to be on other people's table, but building mine, you know. So, yeah. And the crazy idea just came. I said, look, how about a gathering of us creatives? Because, I mean, when I moved here, I didn't know lots of people, but I went online, started searching Newcastle photo. Bro, I DM'd a lot of people, and I'm sure some people found it weird. Hey, I've just moved to Newcastle. I'm a da-da-da-da-da-da. But because I've not done anything here, right?
Yeah.
I probably didn't get the audience I wanted.
Yeah.
People
like to see proof of work.
True. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a chance on myself and ask people if they could come for a gathering of African creators, sort of thing. And then that happened in 2023 when we had Afro creators, where between 9 and 11 people. That's 5 months into moving to this country. And I just did my designs. I just went out there without knowing anybody. The only person I think I knew was Claire, and I also met Claire at the stuff. So I just put it out there. I'm like, well, who would come, would come. And I was shocked to see at least 9 people, 9 to 11, because some people left at some point. I think 11 people at the max came. And, when the gathering meant a lot to them because a lot of people were also moving. That I just moved, So it took me, I had to go back because 2024 was my year of learning. So I went back 2024 and I said, right, I'm now going to understand the trajectory of this place. I'm going to study. I'm going to understudy. I'm going to understudy other creatives like me and see what's best possible for this region. So I went to first develop myself, and hence Black Multipod book, because it was something I needed to do at that time. And I mean, it turned out very good because that kind of gave me status, if you will. People now, okay, he's written a book, he probably knows what he's saying, and then when I come to other creatives that are Black, I'm like, oh, my name is yada yada yada, I'm the author of Black Multipod. So that kind of opened doors for me. But being essentially, being an author, that's the proof of work you talked about. Yeah. So that kind of like gave me listenership to a certain level.
An audience.
Yeah, an audience, yeah. So then, so last year, 2025, haven't built my network, haven't increased capacity. I said, okay, I think I'm ready to, because I've already had it at the back of my mind to have like a platform, to create a platform where Afro-diasporic people, creatives particularly, are able to be seen the right way. Now, with Creators Mix and the success last year, it was essentially to first put us under one roof, probably for the first time, because I know we have made amazing creators, event creators, food, fashion creators, but everyone is just creating differently. Individually, yeah. So I was hoping to bring everybody, I mean, not necessarily everybody, but the bulk of the people in one room and have necessary conversations, because we're a force to reckon with. And if we keep creating apart, there is that strength of unity wouldn't be there. And you can't, I think the government, big companies will not even take us seriously if we are not seen to have like a body. Not necessarily like a body, because I'm not a body group of people kind of thing, person, but more like there's this unionization of African creativity where you can say, look, we're trying to reach 100 African creatives, 100 Black creatives. What platforms do we go and get them? So that's the platform I was creating.
Yeah. And so in that sense then, and in that regard, it then creates this sort of like one-stop shop for all.
True.
Where everyone can go to and they can see, if you're a singer, if you're a podcaster, if you're, an actor, or whatever the case might be. Almost like a yellow book of sorts.
It is, yeah.
So what can people expect from this event now? It's happening on May 30th. So what can people expect from this show?
So whilst Creators Mix is the baby of Afri-Ball, even though it was meant to happen after, but I think it's better it happened prior, because at least people had seen my capacity, had seen and the vision of what is possible to build. So Afri-Ball is, I've always also imagined the African community, particularly the creatives, to present themselves in the highest pedestal. Right. So I mean, I've seen a lot of people doing amazing work, and largely people are not taking the necessary risk, and I can't blame them really, because not everybody is as fortified, But I just wanted to create a platform where we could shine, and shine the right way, and not necessarily playing small, right? So, and that's why it was very important for us to use the kind of venue we're using, which is the Assembly Rooms, which is a 250-year-old edifice in Newcastle. Rich history. It's got performers, you've got lords in the past and kings who have performed there. So it was important for me for us to merge that level of opulence with African creativity. So essentially, it's the Met Gala of Africa. So the platform simply is, it's a high-end gala, where African creative professionals even the business people, even anybody of African descent, an ally, really, because I need to demystify this. People think it's strictly African. No. If you're an ally of of Pan-Africanism, yeah, because that's what we're pushing. So it is not essentially a Nigerian platform. It is not essentially a Ghanaian platform. It's a platform for Pan-Africanism. And then if you've studied Pan-Africanism long enough, it talks about Native Africans and those in diaspora. So essentially it covers Caribbean, covers anywhere, anybody that has a bloodline that links to the mother continent, Africa. So yeah, the platform is just literally to put us on that stage where we're able to dress up, we're able to present ourselves in the most refined manner, and then just celebrate ourselves. Primarily to celebrate Africa Day, which happens yearly on the 25th of May. So that week across the world is Africa Day week. And that's why we have Afri-Ball during that week to harmonize with the rest of the world in celebrating Africa.
That's incredible. So how do other creatives get involved?
So I think the platform is very open to collaborate. I mean, we've had amazing people asking, oh, how can I get on this? What do you need me to do? How do I get part of it? Follow us at the Afri-Ball on Instagram. The website is www.theafriball.com. Just send us a DM. You know, it's an open space. You understand? It's open to everybody. If you want to partner, if you want to be a part of it, because the truth is we cannot go to everybody's doorstep, but everybody can come to us and say, look, this is what I think I want to do, because it is not a 10-year thing. The Afriball is way bigger than me. It's bigger than us. That's the idea of it. It's way bigger than us. So the idea of it is for people to be able to, the platform is there. Let's look at the opportunity, look at what value you can bring to it and you can gain from it. Then we'll have a conversation. Yeah. So, I mean, essentially you could DM the page. I mean, those who probably don't follow me, if you follow the page, just DM. There's like 5 of us on the DM of the page right now that are responding to inquiries, because a lot of people have been asking how they can be part of it.
For sure. And so with regards to Newcastle as a creative scene, as a creative hub, you've mentioned that you feel like some creatives create individually. Do you feel that Newcastle has, or certain creatives in Newcastle have a crab mentality?
I would say yes. There's the element of that. Okay. Yeah, there's the element of that. I mean, I've been in situations where things have been taken out of context, where in my mind's eye, you know, I'm literally thinking we're all wanting to collaborate, or you can use my platform for your good. I can use your platform for my good. I mean, can I name drop?
You can name drop.
Yeah. So during Creators Mix, Georgia May, you know, she sent a DM, says, look, I'm coming to your show, but I have my event coming up and I have my flyer.
Yeah.
You know, and it was very, it was impressive that she asked me, but then again, I was like, no, you just share. She's like, no, I need to ask. I'm like, well, the idea of that project is for people to come and buy and sell.
Yeah.
So if you're an artist, you have an EP coming out, you have say you're into painting and you want to put we had people exhibit, and everybody who exhibited for free at Creators Mix. You know, so that was the idea of it. You know, but maybe I'm different, or maybe I'm built different, or maybe because I'm a very confident person, I'm very settled in myself.
Yeah.
I'm hardly threatened. I don't think anyone can really threaten me, because I don't see you as a threat. And the truth is, you're going to do what Daps can do, and Teinye is going to do what Teinye can do.
Yep.
That's the truth. You know, but yes, I've seen elements of that where people feel like if they bring you too close, you're probably going to run with their idea. Or if you come to their platform and want to do your stuff, you're going to outshine them. I think that needs to stop for those who run around with that mentality, because you can't grow with that. You can't aid a community with those, and I think those are distractions, really. And largely, I'm going to drop this shade, but largely, a lot of us creators are over 25. So let's look for money and stop drama.
Okay, fair. I'm going to clip that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to come back slightly to Africans in the diaspora. Because a lot of the work you do is largely based on supporting Africans in the diaspora, especially creatives in the diaspora, African creatives in the diaspora. So I wanted to talk about our work, our output, our signal. Do you feel that it's often overlooked? But if it is, why do you think that is? Especially in a region like Newcastle, where it's so much further up from the commercial creativity center, which is usually London, Birmingham, maybe sometimes Liverpool and Manchester. So why do you think that our work is overlooked?
That's a good question, Dabs. Because I've been itching to answer that. I've not been here that long enough, so I'm not an authority. So don't take my word for it. This is my own perspective, right? Sure. I think the reason why a lot of us are being overlooked is because everybody still idolizes London. Okay. Essentially, people still see Newcastle as a pathway to. So I'm going to start from Newcastle, and then I'm going to end up blowing in London. Okay, that's what people think. So whilst they're here, they treat their work as transitional. They feel, well, I'm just here for a bit, especially us immigrants, really. I hate to use that word, expats. So especially us expats or people who've just moved recently. We have that temporary feeling that this, that this world is not my home, and just passing through. Yeah, that's what they're treating Newcastle as. For me, Newcastle is home, and it's going to be home for the foreseeable future. And there's a reason why I'm not going to join the band we're going to run to London. As a matter of fact, because of the amount of work I've done in Nigeria before coming here, people expect me to settle in London. They're like, no, God, you've conquered Lagos, you've conquered Port Harcourt. I'm like, So because I like the virgin nature of Newcastle as regards Black creativity or Afro creativity, for me, it gives me because I can't pull an Afri-Ball in London. I don't think I can now. But I'm able to pull it here because there is that space for it.
It's a fertile ground.
Yeah, it's a fertile ground. And if you're sleeping on Newcastle and its possibility as a Black person or as an African creator in Newcastle and hoping that someday you're going to now move to London. I was telling people, I'm not going to go to London and join that long queue. I'm going to be here and create essentially. So yeah, I feel like people treat Newcastle as a transit camp where I won't give my all until I blow. And maybe because the opportunities, like what Creators Mix is, like what Afri-Ball is, like a couple of other, it's really not enough.
It's few and far between.
Yeah, so maybe that's the reason why. But yeah, and I say this to every creator I meet. I explain America to them. Now, America has New York as the London, right, of America. But the Grammys doesn't happen there. It happens in LA. So America has built itself, established itself where different cities can own different big things. And everybody doesn't have to move to New York. And the same with Lagos, right? There are some projects. Boyle Festival is the biggest food festival in West Africa. It happens in Port Harcourt. It's done by an amazing person called Nonso. It doesn't have to happen in Lagos. Lagos has the Lagos Fashion Weeks and the GT Fashion Weeks and the everything that's happening there. But so if we begin to treat Newcastle as a potential cultural capital, I think we'll be able to do better. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I think.
Fair. That's a really good point, by the way. I agree with some of the things you've said. What's next for Creators Mix and Afri-Ball?
So for Afri-Ball, we're still waiting for the maiden edition, which is on the 30th of May. At the core of Afri-Ball is fashion, African fashion. Because having moved to this country, I've seen some Black events still being black tie. You understand? So that's why, I've kind of like given it like a coinage and say the African Met Gala. So I want to, and I'm envisioning a night of high African fashion where people actually get styled in African outfits as the leading cultural inspiration of the world, because African fashion is actually inspiring the rest of the world. So that's the core of Afri-Ball. But away from that, we have an esteemed list of honorees, and that honorees, we call them the culture shapers. So every year, Afri-Ball is going to release a list that would have a group of people who are termed culture shapers, who have worked so hard to keep the culture alive across the UK. mind you, Afri-Ball is a national event only happening in Newcastle. And that's the vision for people to travel across the country to come to Newcastle for this. So that's why the Culture Shaper list is going to encompass people from every part of the UK. And then, of course, we have the Creators Awards, and nominations are ongoing. So the Creators Award also is a platform where we thought to reward African creatives in not Newcastle, in the country, because essentially, if you are a musician in the UK and you're from Ghana or Gambia, the odds of you getting nominated back home is very slim, because you're not seen as local anymore. You understand? And the platforms that are here might not platform you. So that's why we're creating something that is for us, our table, where people can, a makeup artist, a makeup creator, a beauty creator can hold a plaque from Creators Awards and saying, yes, there's a platform that actually sees me and all the work I do with my 100K followers, with my whatever engagement level I have. So that's the idea of Creators Mix, and then of Creators Awards. And then, of course, the night ends with the cultural party. So I'm not going to give away much away from the cultural party, because I want people to come see it. But for the first time, you would experience what a cultural party is. And I'm so grateful that I'm working with the best of the best within the team, because the cultural party is something I want people to go back home and say, wow. So, but not to give much away, I'm just going to give an idea of what will happen. It's going to be a sound travel across Africa. That's what it would be.
Okay. So what's next for Creators Mix then?
Right. So we're growing, aren't we? Creators Mix is essentially going to now happen in more regions.
Okay.
So the vision for Creators Mix is to be a regional mixer, right? And we are currently, I dare say, the fastest growing hub for Afro creativity. That's because of how it's been able to gather a lot of elements from across the country. So we want to push it to other regions, because that's the vision. The vision is starting from Newcastle or the Northeast, but it's going to go across. So we have Manchester, we have Aberdeen, we have Sheffield joining, and then Newcastle. And then hopefully next year, we're going to go to more cities. But the idea is to build a brand to a point where different cities have their own Creators Mix happening side by side. And the core team doesn't have to travel anymore. So more like, what do you call it when, what's the McDonald's thing again? When businesses are being replicated.
Yeah, franchise.
Franchising. Yeah. So more like it. Yeah, like it. Yeah, because the vision, again, is beyond me. And it's something I would like to just be in Newcastle and say, okay, I'm going to attend. I'm going to see what Creators Mix leads look like. Yeah. You understand? So essentially, that's it.
Dude, this is incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. I'm pretty sure that anyone that's listened to this or watched this, especially if they're based in this region, are very excited and looking forward to what you have coming. It's clear and evident that you've been working very hard over the past few years. And keep working hard. But for those that watched and listened, thank you very much. We'll catch you when we do the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Done.